Alliances turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Newbies turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Alliances turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Newbies turn to pick.
Enchantress.
Bat Rider!
Alliances turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
I speak for the trees.
Newbies turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Alliances turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. Newbies turn to ban. Alliances turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Oh!
Newbee's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Dusk.
Alliance's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining.
Witch Doctor.
Newbee's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Sven stands ready.
Alliance's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Slog.
Newbee's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Alliance's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Alliance's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Imber Spirit.
Newbee's turn to pick. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Alchemist.
Thank you, Red Eye. That's right. The final series here, Newbee going up against the Alliance. I'm Gareth. Joining me is Gods, and this one should pan out to be a pretty interesting one. S4 Ember Spirit. I don't think anyone in their right mind would have called that.
No, that's like a hero you just don't see S4 on very often. It's definitely in his arsenal, something he has played from time to time, but by no means a go-to for this Alliance team. On my face. I'm just so excited to see these two teams go head-to-head. One of them's getting eliminated. That's the sad part, though.
Time you've been out here, you've seen everything live, you know, the intros and the teams come out, and the fans behind us, honestly, you can hear them all screaming for Alliance. I think it's about 80% Alliance favored. There's a few Chinese fans in the crowd with a little signs.
They're there, though. They're there.
There was the lad with the iPad, you know, with all the Enchantress and, well, what else was there? There's the Lena.
We need some Australian fans, though, Durka. We're the Aussie fans for KP.
For KP, yeah, absolutely.
There's at least one here.
Game is underway. Let's get ourselves into that one, shall we? So, game one, a loader over on that Slark, already picking up the Stout Shield, but it's early movement into that Radiant jungle by Newbee, and that final pick, Alchemist. You know, we were thinking about maybe an Invoker, the DK was still in the pool, but Moo is going to be farming heavily through this one, and I guess when you've got Alliance here with the really strong 3-core lineup, the Slark, Ember, and Nature's Prophet, you do want someone who can keep tabs on that money.
Yeah, I believe the interpretation by Newbee with their last pick was that Alliance aren't going to be playing like too fast tempo. They have gone a bit greedy in the sense that you've got this mid that is a tempo controller, but is more of a late game oriented one in the Ember Spirit. So they decided to get a secondary kind of late game carry in the Alchemist. They're going to have Alk and Sven, both who can really power farm. So if Alliance don't play fast paced, don't put pressure on Newbee, they're going to be in trouble this game.
Already EGM with the D-Ward, look at that. No nonsense from him, straight out of the gates into that.
And Alliance's wards are both centered around this mid lane. They are very wary of what the Enchantress brings to the table, want to be able to scout out those rotations, protect the mid lane from ganks from the Radiant jungle as well. They basically put 2 wards that see the rotations from both jungles towards mid, so very interesting approach from Alliance.
Well, Ember Spirit is one of those heroes that, you know, level kind of 1 to 3 can be a little bit easier to gank and a bit susceptible to getting taken down, but he does hit one of his peaks at kind of level 8, level 9 when he gets the bigger Flame Guard and extended duration on the Searing Chains. Let's see what S4 does with that, but down the bottom, how is that Bat Rider doing right now? Well, not too great so far. He's actually dragged the creep wave back, but he's against the defensive tri-lane. So, okay, we're going to be zoning him out as much as he can. Slark is one of those natural heroes, very good at dealing with the Bat Rider, getting the sticky napalm off yourself.
Yeah, and the Enchantress found an early safety tormentor, so already sending that down bottom to do some harass with the shockwaves. He then finds a Dark Troll, so very good creeps early on to Schwann's Enchantress in the jungle. Hasn't used the smoke. It looks like he just wants to use the creeps for now to maintain some lane control and try and get KP as level 2. Once Bat's level 2, he can go jungle, but problem is he's going to get ganked.
Oh, he's trying to TP out as a sneaky one, but it's not going to work, mate. Tries it. tries it, but Chuan was on his way. You look at that, and Enchantress was trying to move down that.
Lo did a really nice job setting up that gank. He leads with the pounce and then the cast follow-up. It's not easy to hit that just straight up pounce initiation, but gets the setup, and now Chuan has rotated down bottom, but he's going to wait for the bat to get back in the lane, and this is still a level 1 bat rider who now doesn't have TP as well, so the fact he fails to TP home hurts him twice there, that he gives up the kill, and he's got no TP to get back out the lane.
It's a difficult proposition for him to stay around now. With bat riders in the past, you know, we've seen them go into the jungle and just stack and farm and get early blink daggers. But recently, bat riders, you know, since the buffs over to neutral creeps, they've kind of been forced to stick into lane. Now they can stick in napalm and right-click down creeps, but it's a lot like Darks here nowadays. You know, you pressure lanes, you try and stick on supports, find a kill here or there, but staying alive is the name of the game for bat riders.
Very low to the neutral creeps. Or start a cast, but that's some good money going the way of Alliance, killing last. Well, okay, they missed the second last hit, but they get one of the neutrals. They get experience for both. So overall, will be a happy defensive trial lane for Alliance. And looking at the off lane, Admiral Bulldog is level 3.5. Almost has money for phase boots. Has done incredibly well, just pulling the creep wave from behind the tower, and that's where the big discrepancy early on between the two teams is the off laners.
Look at him, 12 last hits. He's got almost as much as a Sven does. 13 and 2. Well, S4, he's bullying mid a little bit, 10 and 7 to the 10 and 3, but I guess Ember Spirit is pretty good at last hitting in there, getting the Flame Guard out as well. But Alchemist, does he have any stacks being built up for him just yet? I don't think so, because Chuan has been busy with the bottom lane, and the top support, the Tuskar, who usually we see in this kind of roaming role, right? Has been sitting up at top, trying to get himself levels and experience, and so far he's succeeded in that. Level 2 ready for him. As Alliance preempting any kind of rotations or ganks coming through towards them, even scanning into their own jungle looking for this Enchantress, not realizing where he is exactly.
Yeah, I like that they're being proactive for some of those unconventional plays that Enchantress make, but this time around not going to be catching him out, and the first smoke coming out from Chuan will be headed towards bottom lane. Got Vision of Arcade, but not the easiest gank to get because of the cast.
Yeah, they'll lead with a Centaur, but there's nothing to catch. KP wasn't in the position, didn't have any sticky napalm stacks up on the Witch Doctor to actually build things up there for him. Now, Moo, what's he up to? He's got his soul ring, so it's going to be the regular build, but he's getting gone on here. The clearing chains, now the TP in from Bulldog, but Moo, he's equally got reactions coming through from Kaka, the acid spray and the right clicks. Will not finish off EGM. Statement of intent there from Newbee. You're going to try and gank us, we will react in force.
I was looking around, like, waiting for Bulldog to make that first rotation. Level 3 with phase boots. Not like a really big key timing for the profit in terms of levels, but just having the phase boots early on gives you a big boost in your right-click damage output, so either mid lane or bottom lane suddenly becomes a lot more vulnerable to those rotations.
Actually, I'll be surprised at how well S4 is doing here against Moo. You know, they both got Quelling. Well, actually, only one of them's got Quelling Blade. I thought maybe S4 had one. And he's got the Flame Guard just ripping through these creeps, while Moo, even with the acid spray, he's not struggling, but still a little bit of a deficit here. He's actually going to be pretty much 2 creep waves behind. But Chuan, he's poking his head around with the creeps, looking for a go onto S4. Not gonna have anything going there.
And this is the first time we're seeing Chuan kind of assist the mid lane. He sent most of his creeps towards that bottom lane, which is where S4 has had a much better time than you typically expect against the Alchemist.
What's the Tusk up to? So they've started stacking now, it looks like, for the Alchemist. Kaka. So often we've seen Newbee smoke up very early on, abuse these smokes, always carrying one on at least one of their supports. And they love this kind of dual roaming combination where they go and dominate lanes and destroy them. But so far, Alliance, it's been, like you said, that kind of proactive, preemptive movement from the Wisp, always making sure that S4 is not under any real trouble. And as well as bot lane, not able to be ganked because it's a Slark with a Witch Doctor there, and Bulldog playing very passively back in his own jungle. Alliance have done this very good sort of barrier creation where they say, Newbee, you've got good roaming heroes, you've got good laning heroes, but we're just going to sit back. We'll wait for you to move into us.
I think on the Newbee side, though, the positive is that they're not all in on the ganks. They're actually sitting back, like you kind of mentioned. Tusk hasn't actually gone for a single smoke play yet. He's just been sitting behind top lane in the jungle doing pulls and stacks. Now he comes mid a bit, but he's not looking for kills. He's looking to keep his cause alive. And I think what Newbee recognized about this game is a slow, passive farming game favors them. They've got Sven and Alchemist, two of basically the best power farmers in the game, and their offlaner is
They're jumping in onto mid. Oh, no, they're not. S4. He remnants across and gets the Searing Chains on 2. Just a bit of a prod there, saying, you know what, Newbee, I see you, I know what you're up to. Don't stick around in my mid lane. But Sven, he just skyrocketed to the top of the last ditch jar. How? I think he must have taken that large cap stack to build up for themselves. Down at bottom, Chuan dropping low, and with the Wisp pulled, loaded with EGM. Trying to kill back onto that Enchantress. And he's getting a bit too big for his boots, is that Chuan, into the Radiant jungle. Got vision of every movement he makes.
Yeah, that's a small little punish there. I still think Alliance overall aren't really doing enough to bully the farmers of Newbee, but that's something that will change once they get their levels, once they have relocated online. So for Alliance, they're going to have to up the tempo sometime in the next 3 to 5 minutes, because otherwise Newbee are just going to start pulling away in terms of overall farm.
Now, what do you think about the Iron Talon on Slark?
Oh, by the way.
There we go. Searing Chains against the tower. Sure enough, Howl will try and sprint away, but the cast will stop him in his tracks. Now, Newbee, they lose their big farmer, but he did get the tower, and it looks like he bought out as well the Helm of Iron Will back in his stash.
That's overall a kind of evenish trade. Probably slightly Alliance favored, even though they're going to lose that tower inevitably regardless. So the fact they can get up there and get a Sven kill in exchange for it ultimately does really help S4 take off, because he's the one who actually ends up getting the last hit for the kill as well. So,
But yeah, what do you think about the Iron Talon on Slark?
it's fine. It's just a farming item more than anything, and probably something that Lotus has played around with and really likes. I don't think there's any kind of melee safe lane carries do get a lot out of having an Iron
A
Talon.
poor man's Midas kind of thing? Like instead of expending that much money for a Midas, you can just like dip back into the jungle, farm through with the Iron Talon a bit.
I imagine there's a good chance he might not go Midas now that he's got the Iron
Yeah.
Talon, but we'll wait and see. This is such a good Midas game because you're versing the greedy Sven and Alchemist. If you're going to keep up and farm, having a Midas becomes kind of more and more essential.
If he does go back into the jungle, these two supports, Witch Doctor and Wisp, you know, the Wisp maybe relies a little more on experience to get that level 6. Do you think EGM gets a bit of time down on the safe lane?
Yes, I think EGM, his level 6 timing is going to be crucial for when Alliance want to start applying pressure on the map, so being able to relocate online as early as possible, it combos well with S4 because he can roam around by himself, grab his beloved S4 runes, go into the enemy jungle, grab an invis or something, and then all he has to do is find 1 or 2 heroes by himself, and he's going to relocate to back him up with the Slark.
So S4 does have a choice here. I've seen a lot of boots of travel on the old Ember Spirit, but if they do want to apply early game pressure, there's always a chance that, you know, he goes for that treads build, a little bit tankier, a little bit more early game focused. Or do you think he wants to apply even more global pressure and have the BOTs and the relocate and the Nature's Prophet TP?
Further travels, the treads is cheaper and comes online faster, but the pressure you put on the map by having boots of travel is much better than the treads. It's that global threat where
All of a sudden 4 heroes appear from nowhere.
You've got boots of travel and the relocate +1 and the teleport from the Nature's Prophet.
All 5 heroes get there.
Yeah, great synergy between the entire Alliance draft if you go into that boots of travel pickup. So I don't think the fact he's already gotten Aquila, Wand, Poor Man's Shield, he's got all these cheap cost-effective items. You don't need another on top of that in the treads.
Makes perfect sense. While KP, he is racking up a fair amount of gold with 1,300 saved up. That Blink Dagger is not far away, but you just look at the strength here of these lanes. Sure, tier 1 tower top dropped, but Admiral Boltlog, he's allowed to farm. S4 is farming aggressively mid lane. Bot lane, Slark has pushed his wave, dips into the jungle, farms through a camp there. While Newbee, they're all in their jungle kind of. You know, 2 people behind Moo, making sure that his stacks do not get contested by Ember Spirit, because that's a big thing Alliance could look to do. While Howl, he's alone up at top, but like you said, it's kind of okay for Newbee. They're biding their time, waiting to hit these moments where armlet's done for your Sven at this point in time. And I guess you just kind of wait for the KP Blink Dagger to come up.
Yeah, they're going to wait for the Blink before they make any aggressive moves, because in the meantime, they're just straight up winning this game without a single kill on the board. Newbee are ahead by about close to 1,000 overall net worth, and that's only going to continue to get bigger and bigger as Moo maxes out Greevil's Greeds, continues to farm jungle stacks, Sven continues to farm stacks. He's going to have Ancients as well if he wants to farm them. Chuan can stack them for him, so across the board, we are just getting a lot more farm on the map, even though they're down on kills.
Where is Ake going? Checking out some stacks.
Maybe drop some wards.
He does have one observer ward. He sees Moo right now. He doesn't have Maledict or level 6.
Oh, relocate just came online with Io.
Oh man, they see this. They could go for this. Who's Io with?
S4 he's right behind S4.
Oh, they might wait for Moo's ulti to actually wane an Arcane. His Invis rune's wearing off, so look elsewhere for now. Mid, Kaka is caught out a touch. There's the cast thrown through onto the Tusk, and S4. Oh, Snowball will save the Tusk for now, and Hal turns back with the stun of the EGM. There's the God Strength and slams into the Wisp. There's only one though. Here's going to be how well Bulldog somehow from miles away throws that one projectile to kill off the Tusk. So 1 for 1. Any kill at this point, you've got to say, well, Newbee, they can go back to farming. Alchemist wasn't touched. He just gets through his stacks. Batrider's alone in bot lane. Favored towards them.
Yeah, I would say not just favored, but like quite that whole exchange heavily favors them because Sven TP's in, but he secures a kill for his team. He doesn't go down. The Alchemist farming the jungle the whole time, so Alliance need to be the ones getting more right now because they are farming a lot slower than the side of Newbee. So for Newbee, they're not going to be looking to get kills. They're just purely going to react to the aggression of Alliance, and it's great to see that Hao is ready to TP in as a counter gank. He's only got 1 point in the stun, but anytime he's got God Strength with an armor, they commit the stuns in the early like searing chains onto the Tusk, so he can TP in and not have to worry about any aggression onto himself.
12-minute Shadow Blade there from Loda on that Slark. I guess that's the Iron Talon for you.
Yep.
Rushes straight into it, so that's a good early aggressive item. It's coming out on the courier, so you can only expect that Alliance will use that relocate at some point, so maybe catch out someone. Moo is probably going to be the big target. Wait for his ultimate to wear off, get some vision aggressive into the enemy area of the map, because right now Alliance don't really see too much about what Newbee are doing. They don't see stacks, they don't see farming patterns. They are very deep in their own side of the map.
Yeah, I don't think this is the kind of game that Alliance were expecting out of Newbee coming in. I think that's the scariest thing about watching this game is for other teams who are like watching Newbee, they're like, whoa, we haven't seen this Newbee yet. This is the sit back and just farm our way to victory. It's almost like EG-esque in the way they're just prioritizing farming efficiency over everything else. But so far it's working out fantastic. They don't have to go for kills at all. And that's where I think Loda's made, he had two decisions. Go play the farm battle and go for Midas, or go all out aggression. That's what he's doing with this Shadow Blade pickup.
It's 13 minutes in and Newbee still haven't taken down 2 of the tier 1 towers. It's kind of insane looking at it in comparison to what we've had from them before, where it's just 5-man group up, take objectives, and to bully people out of the game. Now, there is your Bat Blink, and KP going to set himself up for something good here.
Now to talk about what Alliance can do, they are going to have Boots to Travel up now on S4, so you combine the Boots to Travel with a Nature's Prophet's global presence who has phased drums, can go into a mech if he wants to, the relocate. This is where Alliance are kind of reach their first big peak. This is like significant increase in just the amount of pressure they can apply on the map. They can. The problem was mid lane when they had that 1-point exchange was that they aren't able to bring in enough heroes. If they can bring in their entire team in really quickly, they're going to just overrun Newbee at their towers.
Dire's bottom tower is under
What is
attack.
that? Do they know that Hao is there? I think he might have spotted out, and Hao turns into Ake, but Alliance, they're ready and waiting for this. They give up the Witch Doctor. Hao keeps being out. They don't have a stun, do they? They come with a steering chain. They caught him. H4 somehow gets the lockdown onto the Sven. Newbee. Can they go for this though? Their big damage dealer's not there. Alchemist is still mid, and Sven's gone.
Oh, just in time was S4 to cancel that TP out, and if not for that, it would have been a absolute disaster. Sven going into 3 heroes, getting a kill, TPing out. Alliance find a much-needed punish onto it, but Lowe's been spending pretty much the last 2.5 minutes since getting the Shadow Blade just looking around for kills. Finally finds his first one to go on the board. He needs to continue this aggression.
Watching Bulldog fake TP into the middle of them, and Batrider against the Invis Rune and S4. He doesn't have a Remnant out. Let's walk it off. All perfectly fine.
14-minute radiance from Moo.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah.
With an armlet as well.
Looking around, like, this is, as far as pulling Acceptors go, something to always kind of take into consideration as you go ultra late game. It's okay for the side of Newbee. Batrider's Zag's like being out is a pretty decent upgrade. There's a 2 melee cores on the side of Alliance. Enchantresses is being nerfed a bit, but still very good, so...
Sven's isn't bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Definitely not bad.
It's one of those things where you don't see it very often, so you might be like, yeah.
Sven would never bite himself, unless he's like a support Sven, but...
A support Sven? Oh, we haven't seen that in a long time. Back in the days of support Sven, support Alchemist, they'll jump on Kaka up at top, the snowball forward. Alliance just want to try and draw this one out, drag him back, and they'll TP Bulldog in as well to get some of the experience and gold. Alliance 6-2, 15 minutes in. They're getting these little pickoffs here and there, but it feels like it's measly in comparison to the gold that Newbee are accruing over on this Alchemist, and can still TP there actually down towards bottom. S4 still freely moving around the map, and another smoke from Newbee. This is the thing, they like exploiting the vision. They'll jump onto Arcane. A support kill is still a kill, or gain gold, but more importantly, look, a hero of Alliance is off the map for 30 seconds.
Yeah, and Alliance right now, like, they find a kill here or there, but they're yet to take a single tower on the map. They haven't got the best line to do so, just the Nature's Prophet, capable kind of split pusher, but even at this stage, we're not going to see Alliance able just to group up as 5. Even when they find a pick-off, it's these primarily supports that they're killing, so unable to transition out of these pick-offs into towers, and that's going to be the next big goal for Alliance, is get kind of bigger hero pick-offs, kill off the Alchemist, kill off the Sven, and do so close at Newbee's side of the map. If you can find a pick-off and then get a T1 tower out of it, it's going to set them up to perhaps take Roshan. Right now, the entire map is being controlled by Newbee. Their entire jungle is yet to really be invaded. We haven't seen Alliance get up any aggressive wards, and
It's only going to get worse, right?
yeah, because Alliance, they've pretty much got 3 defensive wards to kind of protect their lanes, but they're not really in a huge threat of being ganked. Other than the Batrider Blink Lasso, it's Newbee primarily wanting to play a farm game, but because of all these T1 towers being up, it's really hard for Alliance to put themselves in a position to get aggressive wards going.
Alchemist has hit the 10k mark at 16 minutes. It doesn't look like Moo is stopping anytime soon.
Yep. It is a very clear, like, 2-core versus 3-core lineup. If you look at just the net worth, it's Sven and Alchemist very farm, but the Batrider that takes a big drop-off because he's got no jungle to farm with Alchemist and Sven taking all, which means KP is going to kind of struggle to keep up in terms of overall farm this game.
Oh, unfortunate for S4, there it catches the Centaur with the chains. I do like this from Slark. Lotus picked up an Echo Saber on the Slark. Good stats, good amount of damage, but it's the double hits getting those stacks up of the Essence Shift back away from the Sven or the Alchemist, and I think especially the Alchemist who does suffer in those kind of extended team fights.
Yeah, and it's the Echo Saber similarly on the Sven, who's like the obvious hero that this item benefits a lot, but a good pickup on Loader, like you mentioned. Good stats, so see what the next move from Alliance is going to be. They're close to finishing Orchid on Admiral Bulldog. Just looking to have that insta-silence for Bat for when he tries to blink initiate in, for when you can catch out someone like Sven or Alchemist. Obviously amazing Orchid game, but it's a nice item that can transition you also into a pseudo late game carry because of the damage output you get from this item.
And the potential Bloodthorn pickup up against this Alchemist with the Radiance. I mean, he's going to get Manta at some point and obviously be able to pop himself out of it, but right now he's got his boots of travel and he's still a little bit distant from that Manta style. But Newbee, once again, under the guise of invisibility for a little bit as they are going to go through their own jungle. They know that a couple of members of Alliance have actually encroached into their spot. I think they saw Loader pop invis there under the Observer ward, but...
And it's a good way to approach this. It's the 3 non-farming heroes smoking up together, and then they smoke towards one of their cores. They either smoke towards the Alchemist or the Sven, and hope to find a fight. It's better to smoke towards the Sven, though, because the Alchemist can boot to travel in.
I think they've found EGM, KP, holding on to that jump ability. And there we go, lasso into damage, and Sven will come in, secure the kill.
So, for Newbee, finding supports just gives them a lot more value than Alliance finding these support kills because it's Newbee creating space and time for the big carries to farm. Their late game with Alchemist and Sven is just getting scarier and scarier as these heroes pull ahead in terms of overall net worth. So Alliance can have their work cut out for them. It's a very slow-paced game, which is something Alliance are typically okay with, but normally there's a lot more kind of just general push potential out of their draft when they're playing this slow-paced style. They hit their like 15-20 minute Chen DK push timing or something. This draft doesn't quite hit the same windows that we see.
And usually Alliance at least gives a little bit of, a push and a shove. There's a bit of back and forth between the two teams when Alliance does sit back. But right here, it's a little bit passive from both teams. Now, when do you think Alliance will go for one of these tower pushes? Is it going to be when Newbee show on the map and say, hey, look, we've got 3 heroes down here?
It's not an easy... They can't just straight up brute force down towers. It's not gonna... Their lineup doesn't function that way. They have to get pick off and split push. That's what the Nature's Prophet and the Aya Relocate gives them. So it's going to be a much scrappier game plan from Alliance where you just try and keep Newbee split up as much as possible and isolate the cores. If you can find Hao farming alone, if you can find Moo and the Alchemist farming alone, those are the kind of kills you want to get. We see a very interesting pickup from Hal, by the way. He goes for the Shadow Blade. Ooh. This is an item that's great against the Ember Spirit because you can God Strength and Shadow Blade in. And the problem with the Blinken is he can react to the Stormbolt and dodge it. But with a Shadow Blade, you throw the stun out of invis from melee range, and you can almost always catch an Ember Spirit before he fire Remnants out.
Will he be able to solo kill him, do you think, with a stun and God Strength with the Echo Saber?
If he preemptively God Strength, 100%. If he has God Strength after the stun, not hard to say for sure. We'll maybe find out soon because he's kind of setting up for this bottom lane, and S4 Uh-oh.
How has been cutting through trees for the past 5 or 6 minutes. Up at top, he was thinking about it. Down at bottom, S4. He shows with a slight fist. God's strength, Shadow, Blade, Howl, exactly like you were saying. God is going to go in for one slam, then the Stormbolt. Where's the Echo? He doesn't need it. Doesn't need the second one. Only needed the first. Double tap.
He got a bit greedy going for the Shadow Blade hit, but he was instant with the stun afterwards. If he can get away with it, then by all means.
Quick cast is an amazing thing. Oh, that's also bought some time for Moo. His Manta Star thought it'd be a little bit further away, but 20 minutes in, and you've got this 16k net worth almost on the Alchemist. Finally, a tower goes down for Alliance, but it's denied towards the mid. They got the one up at top a little while ago. And not really gaining too much ground here. The foothold that Alliance had in the first 3 or 4 minutes, it is dwindling and dwindling as Ake, he will also dwindle in the burning fires of Batrider.
Playing like one of these supports on Newbee side, you're like, man, I'm dirt poor. They're Harris is taking all the farm on the map, but you're like, wait a second, we got an Alchemist. If this game goes long enough,
I get an axe.
I'm gonna double my net worth. Yeah. Like Tusk is like, let me kick some people. Punching them is getting a bit boring. Let's go full MMA mode and bring out the Walrus Punch as well. Move with a Manta Radiance, 21 minutes in.
Oh, that's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And look at the Ember Spirit now. He's saved up about 3,300 gold, I think, over on S4. That Battle Fury, he's not bought any components yet, gods.
Oh, he's got one. He's got the Quelling Blade, you know, Dirk?
The little one.
The staple
The
one, yeah.
The little one, yeah.
It could just be a casual one, but Loda finding a kill on KP's Batrider will help out a little bit, but yeah, it feels like the Battle Fury is just going to be the name of the game for S4. The other alternative you could have gotten if you wanted to go for it early is the Blink Dagger if you really want to prioritize pickoffs, which their lineup needs to do, but I think S4 recognizing this game is just going at the tempo it is, having the farming item, and the high ground defensive Battle Fury is going to be your best bet.
And you don't need any defensive items. There's no need for, you know, a Manta or a Yules. There's no silencers. There's nothing really that's going to screw you over that.
Linken's is like kinda nice because it stops the Sven doing what he just did at bottom lane and also stops the Batrider initiation. So
true.
But you don't want the first item Linken. That comes much further down the track.
Snowball save there. Kaka keeps one alive, and how he Shadow Bladed up comes through the shard, blocking EGM, but alive. Even their teammate alive. Oh, how trapped in the Sprout, the bane of Sven's existence. S4 chains through. He's got a slight as well. Remnants, where are they? The slam comes out, but Sven has dropped a Newbee. Buyback from EGM's Wisp, proving to be a vital move there from Alliance.
The Ice Shard's just working a bit against the Sven, and then the Sprout from Bulldog completely locking Sven down. Maledict plus Death Ward doing decent damage, although just a level on Maledict, so it's pretty much entirely the Death Ward. Not the fight that Newbee were looking for in the bottom lane, and a much needed tier 1 tower, plus a couple of kills going Alliance's way. Even a buyback coming into play there from Tuan.
Still can't believe this Alchemist though. He's nearly finished off his Octarine core.
What? He just finished the
He just finished Manta, I know. I know.
I hear Alchemist was nerfed in the recent patch.
Oh, yeah, of course he was, yeah. Definitely nerfed. Nerfed into the ground.
I think perhaps proving the patch log wrong.
Direct line to Ice Frog to reverse things just for this game, apparently. Kaka.
Somebody check his PC.
Oh, there's admins in there watching him. I'm pretty sure they know what's up. Unless the little hack he's got is written in Chinese and I've got no idea how to read it. But, Alchemist is just farming out of his mind right now. And Kaka tanking up, treads, bracer. Looks like he might head into some drums. Just nothing fancy. There's no need for a blink tag or anything here. Just make sure that you can land your snowballs, use your skill set, and keep yourself alive. As long as you possibly can, and now is the battle of the wards and the D-wards constantly through here into this dire jungle. Newbee will get the better of that exchange.
They make sure that their own jungle farm is protected as much as possible. When you've got this Alchemist plus Sven draft where you're just all about the farming efficiency, it's definitely the way to go.
Between these two teams, I don't think too many people would have thought that it would be this passive between them.
Yeah, I would perhaps slightly from the Alliance side, perhaps with some of their strategies.
The Tricore.
Newbee, it's like you thought they'd be running at Alliance, trying to 5-man push down buildings with 3 tanky frontline cores. They have two very tanky cores, but they're playing a much more late game farm oriented strategy around it.
Like even when Newbee have picked up the Naga Siren and gone for, you know, a little bit of late game security, it's been security. It's not been a kind of staple of their draft. Yeah, they've got to deal with these Manta illusions already coming through, and Scan, is that from Alliance, is going to actually scout out a number of hero. Well, they know a hero is there, but Newbee Has been rustled there towards the mid lane. That just signals Alliance to actually move back and bunker down in their own jungle and make sure they don't get caught out. And this is the thing, they don't see too much out on the map. They know that Newbee's not showing. All the lanes are pushing into their wave, no one's farming mid lane, and they've not spotted anyone actually move towards like bot rune spot, towards Roshan. So they know that they're smoked up, they know that they're maybe in Roche, they know they're somewhere looking for an opening. So Alliance, well played, just sitting back defensively, and I guess Loda to try and scout out the smoke, and he'll do just that. Do they have any vision though?
They had a sentry, but they really need a gem to deal with this Shadow Blade at this stage of the game. The smoke pops, they back off. The nice thing about Alliance having no vision is that it's very hard for them to get into Roche to contest this. It drops incredibly fast to God Strength as well as the Acid Spray. They don't even have to commit to God Strength, it looks like, so Alliance are kind of just, it seems, settled to the fact that they can't contest Roshan unless they smoke up now, which they're going to do, so they're making a play towards the pit. They've got to get here fast, though.
That was a late decision. Bulldog TP'd towards the Ancients, and it looked like he was going to start farming over there, but moving forward, Treants out, stolen by Chuan. They'll look for the Enchantress, find him, Moo runs through. The concoction of the EGM is good, and the last one's a loader. No gun just yet, the stun there's the God Strength leads through too, but the Trout holds him in. Slug still dead, and the Death Boy's not going to do it. Flip it, think. It's tickling away at the Alchemist. And Alliance, they will retreat. Losing that slug like that, how? How did he do it? Well, Bujidao, I do not know.
Alliance were just kind of stuck with a tough choice there. Just give up Roshan or go in somewhat with limited vision. They had the one ward kind of scouting across the river, but they couldn't quite see the positioning of the key Newbee heroes, and the Batrider especially, and as a result, Loda caught by a really well-timed lasso. KP making sure he doesn't Dark Pact it off, and as a result, it's Newbee securing themselves an Aegis and pulling further ahead here. Another 4.5k gold already on Moo. He's almost 6 slotted. We're 27 minutes in. He can buy that 6 item. He can then start pulling Acceptors. He may even just start pulling Acceptors now if he really wants, but...
Does he even need a 6 item?
By the way, how I love it. He's going into Battle Fear. I'm like, this is something which has been kind of theory crafted against the Nature's Prophet Sprout because of how good it is to spend, and everyone remembers the infamous Arteezy moments at the Shanghai Major. And this is the way where you can have a 6-slotted Sven with the ability to get out of Sprout. It's not the best item on Sven, but it almost becomes an essential one in a game like this.
Yeah, you've got to remember, it's not a farming item. It's not anything like that. It is pretty much 95% down to that Quelling Blade component.
It's an item that still looks so funny. Shadow Blade, Armlet, Battle Fury, Echo Saber,
no
Sven.
Blink, no BKB, no SNY.
Coming to a pub game near you soon.
Oh dear lord, please. Please. How going to be ruining things for everyone. Oh, Newbee, they are 2 kills down, but at this point that doesn't mean too much. And Plate Alchemist with a plate mail, yeah, full Shiver's Guard is done for him. These fights are going to be incredibly difficult for Alliance because 3 out of their 5 heroes rely quite heavily on the right-click attacks. And of course, EGM's Wisp, a hero that wants to pump people's attack speed up, and is going to get punished quite a fair amount by that.
Yeah, this item just synergizes really nicely with the Alchemist's skill set. You get the slows to help guarantee, you get the stuns off, you've got the shorter cooldown because of the Octarine Claw.
Oh yeah.
I really like, we've seen a much more of a trend towards the Shiver's Guard over the Assault Crest on the Alchemist lately.
Yeah, we used to see a little bit of Blade Mail, you know, Ferrari tried that a little bit. Swapping that one in.
Well, this high ground push is hard to defend. 6-slotted Alchemist, and a Sven who's kind of 6-slotted. I mean, arguable there, but an Aegis though.
They've got 2 high ground heroes who can stand up there with impunity almost, and then they've got Batrider to counter initiate. Karka maybe to try and save the snowball. I don't think Newbee are done just yet. Alliance, all of a sudden, Newbee come out the gates and they're knocking on your front door. Loda, he's thinking about going into How, and they will try and pop this Aegis. Sven turns, the armor toggles through as well, the stun onto EGM. And Loda, he's left here without a paddle. They're going to try and slam him, but KP on the front lines. And to slow things down, and have lost EGM while Moo just sprints forward, running through the ranks of Alliance, looking for the hits onto S4, and he nearly got him. Pops the Manta, but the pounce, there we go. Leeching and holding him in, that S4 doesn't do a damn thing. S4 on the front lines, but Moo is still tanking through everything that Alliance throw at them, and the racks in the meantime, gods. The racks have fallen.
Newbee just make it look easy here. There's going to try to be a bit of a rebuttal here as Newbee on the retreat, but Newbee just spent the first 28 minutes farming, they get the Sultan Aegis, then they're pushing high ground. That's what this game has come down to. As far as a game of timings go, this is the best example imaginable, because Newbee just saw this timing where Alchemist is going to be 6-slotted, we're going to have an Aegis on our Sven, who's our big high ground sieger, and there's nothing Alliance can do. They don't have damage output kill one of those cores, let alone both.
They don't have that catch and drag either, like the Batrider offers for Newbee. They can jump in, take someone, pull them out of the fight into the firing lines of the rest of the team of Newbee. But Alliance, if they're defending this high ground, they have to go and walk through the Alchemist and through the Sven to try and get into that back lines. And I do wonder, maybe they could have tried something like a relocate into the back. But at that point, it was already too late. They allowed Newbee to get up onto high ground.
Key Bulldog finds a career, but that's a small victory for Alliance. I like how the Alchemist, even at this stage, buys the gem for the team. There's still a lot of room for growth, not so much directly on the Alchemist, but for buying Acceptors and things. Gem right now, very core for them, and I think recognizing that his teammates are all kind of underfarmed, he's just going to buy the gem, give it to KP, make sure they have an answer to the Invis initiation of Lotus, Slark, and
Alliance, an Alchemist being selfless and saying, oh, you guys don't have any gold. I'm terribly sorry, I do apologize. Here, take a gem.
At 31 minutes too. Normally this doesn't come till much later on, but Moo has been an absolute star this game. Done what he needs to do, and overall it's just been the Newbee game plan coming together so nicely here in the mid game.
I just realized as well, those little team pennants, they're still in the game. 65 Alliance supporters and 12 Newbee supporters watching the game.
I think it's a little bit bugged, because...
Yeah, I'm sure there are hundreds of Alliance fans watching.
Probably a few more than that.
Maybe a few thousand. Daedalus for the Ember Spirit, S4. Maybe that's the damage that they were looking for, but they're still dealing with Warcry, with Shiva's Guard. There's all this armor being stacked up by Newbee, and that's another tier 2 gone, so, you know, we've a bit of a slow start for Newbee. They walk straight up onto the ramp again and move with How wheeling into the tier 3. Loader, okay, take down a Sigil, look for that battle into that Alchemist, but nothing doing just yet. The Slider, oh, there we go, damage from S4.
A little bit hard. They can't just put How on the high ground with God Strength on because he doesn't have an Aegis and he doesn't have BKB. If he has, probably picks up a BKB now, can replace his Prez with that, and then they can go high ground without Aegis. Alternatively, they can play it really safe and just wait for the next Roshan. By the time Rosh is back, they get an Aegis. At that point, Alchemist has probably pulled at least one Acceptor, or probably even two Acceptors because of how fast he farms, and Newbee's next high ground push is going to be almost possible to defend against multiple Acceptors being pulled and Aegis as well. How's building towards what looks to be an assault for us, so...
12k net worth lead and a bit of experience lead there, KP. This is the move from Alliance. They smoke up preemptively, stopping this push on to the tier 2, and they're going for more. Karka dropping low. The TP from Bulldog secures that one. Will move. Actually trapped in place. Held in with the spell, but How he joins the fight. He slams one. He's taking him instantly out of the game. While Loader looking for the Twantress, but move. Concoction, oh, very close. The pounce over the high ground will allow Loader to escape. But Newbee, they catch Bulldog. S4 says not today.
Great defensive play there from Alliance, not allowing themselves to lose anyone, although...
Not over just yet. Loader, this guerrilla warfare, he's stacking up the essence shift moves, looking for Concoction back, but he's popping himself into invisibility. The Link experience there as well. While How is actually dropping here as well. Loader. The Slark, I don't know how many essence shift stacks he's got up, but he's got a hell of a lot with a double kill now for him. Loader finds a nice fair few and moves, tries to TP out the stun. Where is it? No, S4. Very nearly.
Unlucky there for S4 with the Searing Chain. Loader ends up with 90 Agi, 30 essence shifts.
Oh, wow.
That is the... You can see why they picked Slark this game. Into the tanky cores of the Ben, the Alchemist pick came later. It's absolutely fantastic if you're staying alive, and that's what the IO gives you, a ton of sustain for the Slark on the front line. So, long drawn-out fights will go very well for Alliance, assuming it's Slark staying alive in those long drawn-out fights. Exactly what we see there. How struggling to kind of hold his own. He gets locked down in place and has the Slark on top of him.
Oh man, you just look at the potency of that. Double attack out from the Echo Saber. Loader still actually trying to battle into this one. Yeah, he does. 27 stacks are still up and available. Move. Oh my god, you're going to concoct yourself a Hex. He's trapped. He's stunned. That ultimate still getting healed up though as Loader looks to pounce back onto him. This Alchemist, he's losing so much stats. 42 stacks up on this Loader's lock now. Still pummeling into Team Newbee, but he's on the high ground. There's the Daedalus hit. The damage out from S4 and Loader retreats for now. Looks for the heal. S4 Sprout again from Bulldog, but Loader dropping low over on the sidelines. Well, S4 turns into the team fight and goes back into move. This guy, he's dropping low in the Hex. Bulldog holds things out a little bit longer. The Concoction not going to land on anyone from the line. Turn back with How. Bulldog, there we go. Get out. Sven finally brings things back into the hands of Newbee, and they're not done. They want to keep chasing a good cancel out the TP, but this Alchemist Even with all of those stats stolen out by Loda, he just never stops chopping through people. Guns for show, nice for a pro, says Mo.
Loda's got a gem. How can't this invis away?
Oh, can they concoct him? Manta blocks him up and slow him down as well. Mo, what a play with the
Manta block. Oh, that was sick from Moo's Alchemist. How has had a bit of an iffy game sometimes when he's getting too aggressive, but part of the problem with going, he actually sells his Shadow Blade now. I really like that decision from Hal. Recognizing that he's just not, he got value from the item when it got him a pick-off or two on the Ember Spirit, but now that we're in the late game, now that there's a gem on the side of Alliance, you're better off having like an AC BKB or even a Blink Dagger becomes more important now, so he replaces it. He can also, oh, better than both of those is an Aegis, so they're going to be hoping for a Roshan respawn sometime in the close future. Problem is it's a very almost max respawn coming out from the timer there.
Now, it's kind of interesting me. I don't know if you could shed some light on why Hal has sold his Shadow Blade and not his treads.
That I don't have the best answer to. I think there's definitely value in Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade itself giving you some attack speed. But I think the Shadow Blade is a very replaceable item here in the late game, but over the treads, perhaps oversight coming out from Hal. It's just the little min-maxing. If Purge was here, would say he's switching treads all the time for the int and the agi to get his stuns out, and you know all of that stuff. But I don't know. It's an odd one for me. Yeah, I think ideally for him, he gets Aegis plus BKB or Aegis plus depending which way he wants to go. And Alliance scan does scout heroes right outside the Roche pit. They're not inside though, and that may actually throw Alliance off. Alliance have no vision out on the map. Bulldog actually TPs himself. He's got the Blink Hex, so the initiation potential is there. Who gets the Ags? Enchantress, I'm guessing. I mean, Sven could be good, but Chuan, it does get that Aghanim's upgrade for him, and Chuan, like you were saying earlier, these supports over on Newbee. Now, Chuan's got a decent amount of farm, he's actually overtaken the Batrider now, thanks to that Aghanim's buffing up his net worth, but they were very poor previously. Yeah. And Newbee don't want to take this too ultra late game. They had this greedy farming lineup to get them to where they are now, but the Alchemist is effectively close to out. Similar story for the Sven. He's got the, okay, so he does go the Blink Dagger, which is why he sells the Shadow Blade to get the Blink now, and then the Treads will kind of be replaced to pick up the Aegis later on. While Alliance, they've got a lot more room, a lot more leeway. You've got Ember, who has 3 empty item slots still. Slark, who is a bit limited on item slots. He wants to hold that gem. Kind of has like maybe 1 item slot. Bulldog, he's got item slot or 2, so there's a lot of room for Alliance to grow. If only they could give an axe to the Witch Doctor Loader. Oh, he does scout them out there. The Blink Lasso onto S4, though the damage is good in the Ember. He's got a resist down. He could come back into this fight if Newbee overextends. How long does that one last, though? Not too sure. Roshan is dropping incredibly quickly in Alliance, considering fighting into this one. They buy back. You're right, Gods. S4 wants to return into this, and now the high ground advantage, it belongs to Alliance. They have the strategic movement here, and the stun from Hal. Oh, the good Hex and Bulldog. They save the next shot now, in the very least. The Kaka dropping low. The Hex back up to spend for the change as well. As Loader pounces, but misses his target on the Tusk. But S4, he pulled back into this. He's got to make damn sure he doesn't die. The chains will keep him alive for now, but he's still going. Oh, he dodges out. The stun will not land, but he's representing very far away. Tries to get himself back in the fight while Loader is trying to get through onto Kaka. KP dropping low as well. The stacks are building up on Loader, while Moo just runs through rampant into the ranks of Alliance. But S4 as well as Loader is still alive. Is that a buyback from Bulldog? Damn right it is. Comes into the fight again and looks for the out, but still S4 needs to acquire a target and keep this fight going while Newbee and Alliance just completely battling it out for a good minute there. The kiting from Newbee is just so on point. They're not letting Loader get this stack. The 17 charges. Look at where How is. Look at where How is. He's coming in from the back end as well. Alliance have no idea, and Arcane just cleaves through into Oblivion while Bulldog this buyback. Bolivia dieback, they're flying over the top. The force damage there. The damage not quite. Chuan tries, and they get the Alchemist. Alliance finally a break for them, but can they get anything more? How please. Oh, he's got the cleave as well, but How cannot stand up against Loader's Slark. Two teams just brawling time and time again. These team fights are just so even. Alliance had to expend 3 buybacks to make it happen though. Ember, Nature's Prophet, and Io all have to buy back the game, but if they get a Roshan out of this, it's definitely worth it. But here come Newbee with their buyback. Oh man, they don't want to give this Roshan up. Loader, 37 stacks up. He's got, what,
350 odd damage, 370 damage. He's got plenty.
111 stolen agi. It started off slow for him, but towards the end of the fight, he just got a huge
Roshan friendly on the dead loader. Oh, he wanted to kill that off, but he's low. He's half HP. Pops the shadow down, turns on the car gun, and kills him off. He does. Finds the pick. Well, Roshan looks like it belongs to Newbee, and they'll get the Aegis onto it. The Enchantress for Chuan and Alliance, they were inches away from securing Aegis for themselves. And now going to get EGM.
Yep. Skin and after the relocate out, gets blown up. Still, just it's not the Sven who getting the Aegis who would be the ideal candidate for Newbee, and we're starting to see the limitations of Hal's build in these fights. He's not able to hold up to head with Arc very well. He's also just not really got the ideal super late game items. The battle tier is like, okay, you need against the Sprout, Echo Save, but not exactly the ideal item to have at this stage of the game. Other than the Assault Cuirass and the Blink Dagger, he hasn't really got the kind of items you'd want to see on a Sven at 40 plus minutes in.
It's that weird little spot where, you know, where they were farming for 25, 30 minutes or so, and, you know, we thought, okay, this is the late game push, but they optimized quite well for early game, you know. This Sven, they still have to swap out the treads.
Yeah, they were really looking for that 30-minute timing where they have the 6-slotted Alchemist, they push high ground with Aegis, and it worked. They got one lane of racks, and then Alliance have held on since then and really taken things later where it gets really kind of hard to push high ground ever against the Ember Spirit. He kites around so well. The Slark is also really problematic to deal with at this stage of the game. Imagine we'll have to see maybe a few more Aghanim Scepters pulled before Newbee trying to approach another fight, but these are not amazing upgrades.
These are not game-changing upgrades.
Yeah.
It's not a Death Ward, it's not a Static Storm. Nothing like that. God Strength, yeah, we can see weapon after it does buff up damage with that nice little AoE, but I'm not sure if Moo will be thinking about the one. It's not really an ordinary one, it's not a normal Axe upgrade to go for. But the Skadi back on Moo, he picked that up, you know, 7-8 minutes ago or so. There's been 3 or 4 fights since then. What does the Skadi offer you that, you know, other items on the Alchemist maybe wouldn't?
The stats, survivability, and the slow that you get out of it helps a little bit when you're fighting the Slark head-on. So it's that item which allows him to kind of man up right directly onto the Slark. Slark who goes MKB, so getting any additional evasion wasn't going to help. He's already got the armor from the Shiver's Guard, so probably the best option as far as Moo is concerned in terms of just fighting items. The possible consideration would be towards the Abyssal Blade instead when fighting the Slark.
I guess if Slark is going to steal your stats, the best thing to do is buy more stats. Sure, you can tank yourself through all of that. Alliance are actually getting further forward across this river now. Loader pushing through towards mid up at top as S4 just getting himself through these creep waves. And
Alliance are getting confident now. They can tell just with their movement on the map, they're going out, they're de-warding. They're the ones who have lots of vision right now.
It feels like Newbee have to address this. Well, I definitely do. Look at top lane, it's actually moving all the way towards this tier 3, while Newbee, we're over in the Radiant Jungle thinking about maybe pushing in harder. There we go. There's the God Strength upgrade. Not the lasso, not the kick from Tusk, but actually going to be that 900 AoE God Strength.
Everyone kind of getting that bonus to 125% ally bonus damage around you, which means the Alchemist is effectively going to be close to doubling his right-click damage in these fights. Tusk not exactly great on, Batrider not great on. Enchantress it's pretty good on, since we will be seeing this kind of right-click Enchantress as we scale it late, but Enchantress often may not be in that radius around the Sven because of her long attack range.
Well, how does address that top lane? It out a little bit, and he's of course got the BOTs in 5 seconds time, and Newbee have reset the battlefield. Again, they're pushing forward towards Alliance's quarter, trying to find a way again to enter this base as Alliance. They did go for that sneaky little smoke move around their tier 1 up at the top, just to preempt what Newbee were doing when they were approaching this area. They might think about doing this again, because defending high ground for them, like I was saying before, they don't have big AoEs, they don't have these dragon pull abilities to maybe catch one hero and finish them off. It is going to be about maneuverability, positioning, and these slippery heroes like the Slark and Ember actually being able to enter, leave, and re-enter teamfights. Shadow Blade up now for Nature's Prophet.
Looking just to be able to maneuver around them. It means that Nature's Prophet can be like farming, pushing alone at top or something, and not worry about dying to the Alchemist and the Sven, because these are heroes that can't carry a gem. The gem will be on the Batrider, who has got good, hasn't actually got boots to travel yet, so in a lot of situations, we'll see the Shadow Blade enable Bulldog to split push more, to initiate in, and still have the blink available, so...
Batrider's been whining about the Sven getting an axe 2 minutes ago, so Alchemist, you know, pulls one out of his pocket and says, ho ho ho! Jeez, didn't even see that one happen. EGM just evaporates.
Buyback too. It's still on cooldown for, okay, 15 seconds.
God Strength and BKB down for Hal, but Moo pushes up onto the high ground.
They still have it up for a little bit longer. They'll force a glitch.
Oh, KP very nearly got in there with the lasso onto Loader, and Hal slams into that tier 3 while Moo, he's playing recon, he's moving himself forward into Alliance to stop.
It's good damage, and they should wait for the God Strength to come back online. Even though the Eye is still dead, I think it's either you wait for the God Strength to come back up, or you wait for a clean pick-off out of your Batrider lasso. You can't just try and brute force down these Raxes without being punished by Alliance.
Nearly everyone has Axe by now. Nice little jump away. Lincoln Sphere will pop though. Nice for Loader, looks for KP. Is that a Ghost Scepter through? He turns for Kaka. Well, there's the snowball. He's not able to get it off just yet. Kako turns for the punch and he skips himself alive while EGM Ghost Scepter's up. The gem is dropped and Bat is as well. With a buyback from Wisp, they turn back onto Moo. Loader, there's the Bat. Actually doing a hell of a lot of damage. This Alchemist dropping to half HP, but he's hacking through it all. And meanwhile, Enchantress ripping through one on the side, but Moo is gone. Alliance good. Focus fire there, while Bulldog somehow gutters away like a little rat. Hides away in his own jungle, but it's not over just yet. Is there a bash? Is there a stun? Of course there is! You've got a double procs out there from Loader with the MKB and the Basher.
And
S4
barely survived there as well. He managed to Shadow Blade out of the gem range. Before get out of top, but just barely survived. He had an following him, it looked like, and that Enchantress had the gem, but with the reduced vision. Gem, as far as the actual detection radius goes, they didn't secure the kill on Bulldog, and he didn't have buyback, so if they killed him off, that would have been a big pick-off to secure their high ground defense. And Alliance will push back the other way. Lotus has got to that stage of the game where he is just too strong.
They might just force the buyback from the Alchemist as well. 70 seconds still, he's dead for, and to defend your tier 3 and racks up a top lane, Alliance, they are on the front foot now. Enchantress buys back, and they might look for more as they jump in. S4, no, he remnants away. There's no catch, but Loader, he says thank you very much. There's a Batrider that's punched Snowball, saving me. Jet sprouted by Bulldog, kept alive and tethers away. Howl doesn't get the kill, and Loader, oh, the damage is coming through out from Howl, but he jumps out. And Slark, slippery little fish he is, back to the reef.
And IO has just been such a pest this entire game. Yeah, EGM's died 8 times, but NewBee had to commit so much to actually bring him down. On top of that, Bulldog's Sprout play just to kite heroes has been
they can't stop it
as well. And
they can't stop this. Oh,
they don't want to use the Alchemist vibe. They're in a position where losing one lane of Rax is far from game over, and with tier 2 tower in mid and bottom, it's not worth committing a buyback to defend one lane of Rax when you're this late in the game. So NewBee say, look, we want to make sure that we have an Alchemist buyback for a potential upcoming fight. Let's just settle and slow things down.
Give a little bit to Alliance, but they're not going to take a lot. On buyback status, Enchantress, of course, just spent hers, and Wisp in that previous fight used his, but now we are seeing Radiant with a lot of buybacks here. 3 of theirs, them available. All over on the Dire, the Sven and the Bat are the only ones. What are we seeing now from Bulldog? Shadow Blade still up, but
probably just has to hold buyback. You've regained control of this game. If you're Alliance, you kind of hold on to it by just making sure any fights you take, you're always going to have that buyback potential because you've got just profit TP, you've got boots of travel, you've got relocate. Having buyback is just so valuable for this Alliance squad.
How with the Daedalus replacing his treads? It's like replacing the Echo Saber actually, because the BKB replaced it.
He sold the Echo Saber to make sure he had money for Daedalus with the buyback.
Buyback. Okay.
So this is, I mean, he's got everything you can hope for other than a Moonshot at this point. You can't really upgrade from the Battle Fury. I think the Sprout has just been too strong in these team fights. Even last time with a Battle Fury, he still couldn't get himself inside to bring down the IO.
This swing for Alliance, about a 10k net worth swing so far over the past 3 or 4 minutes, and experience, you know, not a massive swing, just the fact that it is in their favor now, and that's the full Abyssal Blade for Loader. Great way to lock down not only the Sven through BKB, but also the Tusk and the Batrider, who have been saving people and have been kind of keeping these team fights going for NewBee.
And we're starting to see some of the downsides of like having these 2 really greedy farmed carries. KP just doesn't have the items to engage in these fights. If he had a BKB, it's a lot easier for him to initiate in. Instead, caught in a Searing Chains, a cast, and these things make it that much more difficult to approach fights if you're NewBee. Batrider just had to go for all these effective items like a Ghost Scepter just to keep himself alive against the Slark.
Team NewBee this tournament, As well as the Manila Major coming up, going to be incredibly important for their run towards TI. Of course, qualifiers for ASL Frankfurt are going on right now, so they won't be able to attend that tournament. But against Alliance here, it's important because they're meeting up later on this year at Manila themselves, won't they? Try and assert your dominance over one of your competitors at an early stage. Sure, yeah, prove your worth. Load up and okay.
Roche back up. Newbee have eyes on it with the Enchantress creep. For the Radiant side, they can use Treants to scout it out if they haven't seen it already. In the neighborhood is Loda. Scouted out by a Dire Sentry though.
S4 is so good at clearing out these creep waves though. It's been interesting to see this, because usually we see Bulldog in this kind of position where he is the lone druid, he is the split farmer, the split pusher, controlling waves and causing a little bit of a nuisance, you know, for the enemy team over on the opposite side of the map while everyone else is grouping up and fighting. But it's S4 and Bulldog and Loda all doing it on all three lanes, so Newbee, they're being dragged a little bit from pillar to post here to address and deal with what Alliance are throwing at them, while Loda's actually going to go look for a solo kill on someone. Dives in through the dire jungle.
Find much at this stage, unfortunately for him.
Newbee very focused on this Roche pit.
Oh yeah.
Very focused around this side of the map.
And they're kind of drawing on the map to make the same move they did last time, which was to smoke and go for that wraparound play.
They see TP of S4. Ember Spirit. What's the jump potential here with the Lincoln Sphere? I guess they try and blink force last. Oh no, 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 no. S4's too quick for you.
There, but it's very small. Because you have to break his Lincolns before the lasso with the Force Staff. S4, unless he's just caught sleeping at the wheel, is not going to let himself get lassoed there. But it probably does secure Newbee Roche. We'll see though, Loda has already TP'd in towards this direction, and again, the global presence is something that Newbee has to be very respectful of.
How long until Bulldog can TP? Roshan, it doesn't matter. He's already dead. The TP was available to Bulldog, but they'll give up the Aegis and the Cheese and try and push into tier 3 towards the middle lane. Looks like Alliance don't really care too much. Roshan's taken out by Newbee, at least for now. Map control and domination of these lanes. Concoction. Hey! Oh, you cheeky little devil. Quite a fist to dodge it. Well played.
To see if S4 commits to the Rapier at this stage. He's got the one defensive item he needs in the Lincoln Sphere. Ideally, either go Rapier or MKB at this stage. Possible consideration towards the second Daedalus. We'll find out. Here we go. The crowd wanted. I can hear him chanting. I'm pretty sure they're saying Rapier. And it comes.
They want the aliens to have the Rapier. Now they've got it. S4 pulls out the big guns here against Newbee. They give them maybe the damage they need with a Daedalus on top of it. You know, heroes like Enchantress, like Batrider, even the Tusk to some extent. Just get one hit through the slice. Now you're seeing this Alchemist. He's been 6-slotted for a long old time. Yeah, I think he spent a bit of his money. I'm not sure when he's going to be looking to swap in or out. Is there anything you look at, like there's BOTs too he could buy, but is there anything you want him to swap out for a better item to pick up?
Not particularly. The one item you consider is the Abyssal Blade still, I think.
Instead of Manta?
Manta's just so good. Manta's not about the farming at this stage of the game. It's about keeping the lanes pushed out so you're pressuring on lines, keeping them on their side of the map. So I think that Manta has a ton of value here in the late game.
To get out of steering chains and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very important, because he doesn't have that BKB, doesn't have that safety net. AP, he has the Aegis and he's trying to get the vision, but Loda is not the target he wants to go for. So maybe now.
It's really hard because both the two cores in the front lines, the Slark and the Ember, both have Lincoln Spheres. So because you have to break the Lincolns before you lasso them, both these heroes can react. The second they see their Lincolns broke, Loda, he can pop a Shadow Dance. He can just go invis. There's so many ways for him to escape. And then S4's got the obvious Fire Remnant away anytime he's going to get blinked on. So makes life very difficult. And there's no drastic long-range link break on the side of Newbee.
Picking up now, lads. High ground item, have I ever seen one?
For the Tusk, yeah. Been building it for a while, but Kaka incredibly poor. He's kind of low impact this game. He's just been that defensive
Bulldog at top. How blinks in and Bulldog blinks out.
Get a good giggle about that one in the booth.
They nearly got me. They nearly got me. Newbee. They do have all lanes pushing in though, and Alliance hemmed back in their own base, but you look at that, one little sleight of fist and Moose does drop About 10% of his HP, it's a good chunk of the damage, it's just sustaining it through, and yeah, there we go, nice little crit back onto Hal with a cleave through.
I think it's a good approach to take for Newbee. It's just like really test the waters, chip away at it as cautiously as possible, try and force that glyph out as well, because if you can get them to waste a glyph and then catch them out of position, suddenly you're on their high ground with a Sven Alchemist. Rax. Even if you like lose a Sven or an Alchemist to take the lane of Rax, it's okay at this stage of the game, assuming they have buyback. You just want to slowly whittle away as much as possible at the Alliance base. Spam out the Manta Style and Alchemist just onto the building, send it at the range Rax since that damage won't be healed up, and well, we'll see him try. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage, but better than nothing.
They're keeping Bulldog and S4 away from these side lanes though, by actually pushing them in, making sure there is no split push shenanigans going on, apart from a few little treants up at top. They're doing a decent job. Bulldog's got his little army out.
He wants to be back to defend though. We see him there like just sprouting up the range Drax to prevent the Alchemist being able to attack it. So just the small things Alliance is doing right.
Do not give Newbee an inch while Moo, the real Alchemist, he does push forward onto the racks, but in comes Loader. Quite a fist is there as well, but Cask bouncing back. KP as well as Kaka again with a slight pistol. Loader and Paul give us a bait onto Kaka. Musk is dead, but how? Wants you, yeah, but he'll get him as well. How? Finds the Whisper now, looks for the slot as well, and got the lasso up. KP nearly drops very, very fast to that slight fist, but they're not going to be able to find the kill. Loader turns back with one swipe of his nice little dagger. Moo is left alone with his own devices. He doesn't really have a team to follow him up. Chuan still very far away, but Moo trying to deal with Ake, pushes himself out of the sprout. Ake just dies to illusions as he hasn't got a way to get out of the trees himself, while Loader, no! Against 4! The Slark! Moo looked like he was alone, but Loader went in.
A buyback and still glyph up on the side of Alliance. And S4's Rapier so good at defending the high ground, makes this scary push to go for.
Top lane.
Yeah, how will TP back?
He has to.
You force out those buyback. If anything, this is a time where you just reset, wait for the Tusk. Yes, the Tusk isn't really a high impact hero in these fights, but one snowball save could be all the difference. It could allow like a Sven who's in trouble to get snowballed, buy him some time, and then blink back to safety. So it does give you some utility in these ultra late game fights, and Newbee will at least wait for him, reset the lanes a bit, and then probably try and make a play before Loader has buyback once again. Bulldog's hunting, by the way, has got relocate to back him up.
And how? Hex into Sprout to relocate is coming through. It's easier.
They changed their mind halfway through there. You can really see the communication going on in Alliance. Like the Bulldog's like, okay, I caught one with a Hex. Problem was the Hex was as he was going from low ground to high ground. And then EGM was already committing the relocate, and then the call from Loader or S4 was like, no, don't go. Especially Loader, who's like, I don't have buyback. If you relocate me and I die, we lose the game there. So,
we've got
really good call from Alliance there not to commit. And they even get EGM out there despite him using the relocate.
For a second, I thought Alchemist would give himself an axe before giving it to Tusk, but he does hand it over.
We get some kick action.
We might just see some kick action, yeah, gods. I mean, there's a moonshot over on Moo, so he's like, yeah, well, I don't really have anything else to buy. I've got no one else to give stuff to, so this money may as well go to the Tusk. You know, your Aghanim upgrades, not like crazy, there's double lasso, EGM call with Loader and Slow, and through, and how? The damage on this slot, there's no buyback from Loader, and Newbee might just have done it with that one move by KP. Into the racks they go, and how just slams these buildings down, demolishes through Alliance's base.
Well, as we wrap up game number 1, let's stop the warding there. They drop the ward on the high ground, and that sets up everything. KP on the Batrider gets that great initiation off purely because of the vision that they were given, and Alliance will now be up against Mega Creeps, and I imagine we'll just see their throne go down. Without the Slark IO, there was just no way for them to defend here, it feels like.
S4, your Amber Spirit has been pretty spectacular all game long, but you've got to show us the money now. Defending almost 1v5, you can try and rely on Arcade, you can try and rely on Bulldog, but this Ember Spirit is the one that has to try and hold back the hordes of Newbee. Let's move into the throne they go. Alliance not going to give up just yet. Arcade drops incredibly low. The Glimmer Cape will save him while the damage from S4 looks good, but Alliance, the tank is empty. And honestly, S4 doesn't really have a leg to stand on as he wanders himself back into his fountain, and Newbee, it looks like they've done it. Taking down the Ancient, moves on a killing spree. And game number 1 with another double lasso to secure things up. GG is called, Alliance tap out, and Newbee take game 1 in this best of 3.
It became so interesting once we got to that ultra late game scenario, because for the entire early to mid game, it was a game of economy. Newbee out-farming Alliance. Newbee hitting this timing where they were so farmed with Alchemist 6 on Aegis, they just took a Rax. But once Alliance held on, we got to this late game where it was no longer about items. Who was more farmed than who? It was entirely about who got the better initiation.